Hey everybody. It is Thursday. That means you have gone through 4 mornings of the Miracle Morning to help you crush the rush and win the day. I hope that it is going well for you, that you've established that why for why you're doing it. For me personally, very soon I will be starting a long-term sub-teaching job, and I know my mornings are going to look a lot different, and so I need to be sure that I am getting the things done in the morning to take care of me, so that my boys aren't running out the door rushed and with me being impatient, and then also so that I am the best for them and my students too. So, so along with having your why for why you're doing this, can you mute yourself? You need to be doing something at night to ensure you're getting your best rest possible. And so for me, that is a brain dump. I'm making my sleeping conditions a little bit more conducive to sleep. Putting my cell phone across the room. I am still watching a little bit of Netflix before bed, but we've been limiting to 1 episode, so we're not like getting hooked and staying up way too late. And then setting that bedtime affirmation is really important. And then for me, I have made it all week without hitting snooze, which for me is huge. Hey, Chris. I am like a huge snoozeaholic. So I have broke that habit, or I'm working on breaking that habit this week, and I haven't caved yet by setting it across the room. I turned on Don't Worry, Be Happy as my alarm, which has been great. It's really hard to go back to bed with a great song playing. And then on the mornings I didn't want to get up or I didn't know what was happening, I use the 5-second rule. I'm brushing my teeth, which sometimes is taking me a little bit too long because I'm just kind of like half sleeping still. But then as soon as I drink that water, I'm rehydrating my body and I'm ready to sit down and do my activities. And so for me, and I think some others in this group, silence is the hardest part. And so I have
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, Tegan's been using the 5-second rule too. So I have a tip for you on silence. Remember, I recommended, and so does the book, not to do any of these activities really from your bed. But I do them on my living room couch, which I thought was a great place to do it until I was alerted this week that there is a spot on my couch. It is the left-hand side that I always sit on. I always put my coffee on like the armrest. I have everything right there. It's right next to the lamp and the side table. But no matter what time of the day, when I sit in that spot, I disengage. It is where I go to lose myself. And being disengaged is not always a good thing. It can be a conversation with my kids or my husband or doing my PD or my prayer. When I'm sitting there, I'm not getting as much out of it, and I can easily sit there for a really long time and have a really hard time getting motivated to do anything after that. So changing the location of where you're sitting, even if it's just a different couch cushion, a different chair, move to the love seat instead of the couch, sit on the floor instead of the couch. If you have a spot in your house where you notice yourself doing that too, where you're disengaging from whatever's going on or kind of like checking out of life, that is not great. And just moving your location. So today I just moved like down towards the other end of the couch, and it was a totally different experience. And where I realized it changing was during my silence time. I started with prayer, and my mind was everywhere. And then when I felt it going other places, I just literally checked out, and I could feel myself doing it. I'm like, oh wait, I'm not going to sit here anymore unless it's like the last thing I'm doing at night. And I moved to the other end of the couch, and it was a totally different experience. So I really encourage you to maybe switch up your locations if you're having a hard time getting going in the morning. So you've done your silence, you've done your affirmations. I'm adding to mine and updating them often, especially while I'm getting them established. You're doing your visualization, and I would love to keep this group open. And I've heard some people talk about, well, I don't have time to make a vision board, or I don't know how. I would love to walk you through some steps on that in the coming weeks as well. Um, Doing some sort of exercise, whether that just be a couple of minutes of squats or push-ups or stretches. And then we're going on to reading. And I have always been a big reader, but then once I became a mom, I didn't have time to read. But when I started coaching, I was about a year in, and part of being a coach is doing personal development as part of our job, to be continually improving our mind. And I actually flat out told my coach, I don't need self-help. I am good the way I am. I thought I had my life figured out. I thought I was in great places. And really what I was saying is I had no need for growth. And that is not true of anyone. And it's not okay. We always need to be growing and developing as people, and especially in our mind and our mindset. And so it was almost a year to the date of me starting coaching where I picked up my first personal development book, call it self-help, call it whatever. And it was the book Daring Greatly. And it was one of the books that began to change my life and how I thought of myself and how I was parenting, teaching, and leading other people. So I encourage you, if you don't read, or you think you just like to read like for leisure, this is really so enjoyable. Whether you're listening to a book, or you're listening to an audiobook, or you're reading a book, or you're listening to a podcast, it does become leisure. And I was just talking to Chris about this today. Like, I have a bad book problem. I have a PD problem. So I'm PD meaning personal development. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about reading. And when I say reading, I don't mean like a romance novel, although those are like fun to read probably. I used to really love to read young adult literature because that's what I was teaching, and I wanted to know what books my kids would like. That reading is still good. Like, if you're just a reader, you should still read that, but you should be reading or doing some sort of form of personal development too. And so the reason why is it is a way to fast track transforming your life, to getting to those level 10 success levels in your life in all areas, because you're learning from experts who have already done these things. You're not trying to pave your own way and figure it all out for yourself. These people have already done what you are wanting to do. And who cares if it's self-help? Who does not need some help on their self? It is growth. And we need to adopt that growth mindset to be better humans, to be better parents, to be better spouses, employees, whatever the roles are in your life. Yes, we all do need growth. So how much to read a day? A good guideline is 10 pages a day. So that could take you anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes if you're a fast reader. I have the skill of being a fast reader. It's something I've always been good at and like to do, and I just kind of take it all in. Or maybe if you you're new to reading, it's not something you enjoy, you're going to want to do the audiobook, or it might take you a little longer, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. I could spend, and some of these do spend an hour on personal development. It's so important to me. So if you were to think about this, if you were to read 10 pages every day for 365 days in a year, you would read 3,650 pages in a whole year, which would be the equivalent to 18 200-page personal development books. That's a lot of growth that can happen within just 1 year. And if you were to multiply that by 5 years, 10 years, your lifespan, look how much you're growing. How many of us don't have book problems? That's exactly right. That's the teacher in us, Chris. Okay, so yeah, we can read those 18 books a year. And my goal is actually 12 books, but some of them obviously probably have more than 200 pages, and I am going to far surpass that this year. But it's not so important how many pages you're reading, how many minutes, how many books in a year. It's that you're taking what you're reading and applying it. And so I have read The Miracle Morning. I could read it 100 times, but if I'm not going to practice these principles, it's useless. It's like you're information rich. But if you're not going to apply the principles that we've talked about this week or you've read about, it's not magic. It's not all these things in your life, this level 10 areas of success in your life aren't going to happen just by magic. Gosh, I'm fired up. This is like my passion. So you're going to pick something that you want to improve. You're going to want to think about why you're reading it, and then don't just read it. Like I said, you need to implement these things into your life. And some ways to do that are to underline, to highlight, to dog ear pages, to mark them with stickies, obviously unless they're a library book or something. And then, turn the light on. Thank you. The parts that you highlight or dog ear or underline, those are the things that you can go back and reread. You can scribe on these things and keep a journal. Oh, thanks, Kim. Yeah, I was a teacher for 12 years, and I just do think of, while I'm not teaching 4th and 5th graders anymore, I'm using my teaching skills to teach about health and fitness and growth. So that really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And a lot of times when we read the book the second time, or we go back and read those highlighted or underlined items, we're actually going to be growing more, because you're going to take different nuggets away. And when you do that, you don't always have to reread the whole book. However, there are books in my PD library that I have reread 3 or 4 times. A couple of those are Girl Code and The Gifts of Imperfection. I've not even had that book for a year, and I've read it, I think I'm on my 4th time. And it's a small read. But just each time I read it, I gain different things. So I'm just going to show you here kind of like what my personal development looks like in a day, and why I can spend up to an hour at it. And I don't spend all that time in the morning. I will do a little bit of reading before bedtime, and then right after Holden goes down for a nap, I sometimes get a cup of coffee. I go outside if it's nice out, or I sit on the couch and I just do a couple of minutes reading, and it's just kind of a way to like fill my tank back up so I'm ready to tackle the tasks that I need to get done while he's napping. So I start with my devotional, and I'm just reading Jesus Calling. It's just a short devotional. I tend to read a couple of different kinds of personal development books at a time. Kind of like for my mom part of my life and relationships, I'm reading Only Love today, and you may have seen some of my posts on that. Yep, Tegan has his Jesus Calling book too. Then because I've already read like the Miracle Morning that I'm teaching about, I got the next one for network marketers, and it's kind of just a review, so I don't read that one every day. If I'm not reading that one, I'm right in the middle of Rising Strong. And then my book ADHD kicked in, and we listened to a podcast by Mel Robbins on the 5-second rule, and we ended up using it. Our 6-year-old used it without us even teaching him about it, because he heard it on the podcast, and we're like, wow, this is powerful. So my husband downloaded the audiobook, and I got the book on Amazon, and it arrived early this week, or maybe it was last week. And I am like already like halfway through the book, and it just came. And then of course, when I went to Target yesterday, I bought 2 more books. So that's kind of what my PD looks like. And then as soon as I'm done reading, that is when I do my 5-minute journal and do my scribing. And then I end the day with a couple of follow-up questions too. So if you need suggestions, I can help you. If not, there's an album of a lot of my personal development books. So if you just recognize book covers, if that helps you, if you're visual. If not, there is a document in the files, and it's organized by topic. So if you want to learn to set goals, or you want to improve your mindset, or your daily disciplines, or money management, organization, markers, those are relationships, kind of some main topics. It's organized by that too. So if you have any questions, I'm excited to see what you guys start reading. And we are almost to the end of learning about how to crush the rush. And I'm excited to see how you guys start implementing this into your real life. So hope everyone has a great night, and happy reading.